Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Just two more verses in Psalm 31, and we'll finish this up next week. Verse 21. Tas tirem beseter paneka, meruk se ish, tits penem besuka merev leshonot. Baruch Adonai, ki hifli chasto li. Okay, if you'd like to, pause the video, pronounce out loud, see how much you can translate. Okay, verse 21. You get satar twice in two words, which sounds a little bit weird in English, but Hebrew doesn't mind doing. Hopefully you can see the root is satar. The tav up front tells you 2ms imperfect with a 3mp suffix, and you see you have a vowel, I vowel. So this is a hifil, you cause to hide, or in English we would just say you hide them in the hidden place of your face, or in the secret place of your presence. It's a lovely way to talk about both intimacy and protection with God when you are under attack. David qualifies this, what God hides them from. Do you see in verse 21, the first clause talks about God's protective action, and the second clause both says what God's protecting you from? Now, rekuse ish is man, obviously. Rekes is a really tough word. You probably didn't know what it meant. It's used twice elsewhere in the Old Testament. In the instructions for the tabernacle for binding, the curtains together, and in Isaiah 40 for a rough place. So it's really hard to know what it means here. Does it mean the bands of men, like gangs of men? Does it mean intrigues or plots? You'll see it translated different ways. I think David is saying people ganging up on him, something like that. I'm not real sure. I mean, the word is so rare, it's hard to tell. Notice you get Zaphon again, and you'll remember from the last video we saw how God treasures up his goodness. Now, you treasure them in a sukkah. And hopefully you know from Exodus, Sukkot is the festival of booths. This means a booth or a structure, a building, a hiding place, something like that. A booth doesn't sound terribly safe when you're being attacked, but all the religious connotations of this word, the sense of being safe in God's presence in a dangerous place, it's all there in Sukkah. And you treasure them, you zafon them. The verb zafon can mean to hide, but coming so soon after its use in verse 20, I wonder if we're supposed to hear that sense of preciousness, the preciousness with which God treats us. You hide them in a booth, not a booth. From the reeve means to argue, and leshonot is tongues, from the argument of tongues, or the strife of tongues. We've all had those moments. You go on Twitter and you see the way Christians are just brutal with each other, or maybe the way people in church are being brutal with you. And there's that safe refuge from the strife of tongues. Baruch Adonai, a cow passive participle here, blessed be the Lord, because we have a hifil 3ms perfect from pala, which means pala is when something is a miracle. If the Gospels were written in Hebrew, then Jesus giving sight to the blind and so on, those would be his palas. But here, he has caused to be miraculous his chesed to me. So I'm not real sure I know how to translate that smoothly into English. God has activated his steadfast, devoted, faithful love to David in a way that is miraculous. In other words, in this line, David's life has not just sort of gradually gotten better on its own. God has intervened on his behalf in a miraculous, obvious, amazing way, so that everyone knows God acted on his behalf. There's just no ambiguity. These four words in Psalm 31, that is the answer in the book of Psalms for the problem of lament. God acts on your behalf. He intervenes on your behalf. I hope you're able to pray that way today. Be'ir, matzur. Matzur means besieged. The root is zur, if I remember. Yeah, that's correct. So the root is zur, and this is just a noun that's derived from it. So in a besieged city, that is to say, metaphorically, when I felt like I was a besieged city. There's really a lot of beautiful stuff here. I hope this is meaningful for you, and I hope if you feel like you're You're lamenting right now. I hope this helps you pray. Thanks so much, and I will see everyone next week.